Welcome. I'm so happy to see all of you here. It's so much fun when we can do this in person at the library. So welcome, and welcome whoever's out there in the great cosmos of the. I don't work for the library, I'm a volunteer, so I can say this. We're building a building, folks, and we need money. So I've been told that I can tell you that. And in the new building, there's going to be a commercial kitchen, which means that when we have cooking classes, you can taste the food, because I can't let you taste the food because it's not being cooked under proper conditions. And I prepped it at home, not in a licensed kitchen. So when we have a new kitchen, you'll be able to taste. And I don't know that we'll actually do them in the kitchen. I don't know what it's going to look like. But the architect is here. Yay! And so anyway, I know that she's been in cahoots with my old pals from the college about the kitchen, so I know it will be a kitchen that'll be widely useful. I don't think there's anything else I have to tell you. We're going to make pad thai, and I'm going to start with dealing with tofu, because some people had asked, there's a piece of paper in that bag that'll ask you if there's anything you want to learn about or whatever. And people said they wanted to know about tofu. And tofu's tricky business. It has it has very little flavor on its own. And it's an absolute myth that by marinating it, it'll take in the flavor, because it just doesn't. Because tofu comes like this, in a box in water, and it's just full of water. And so it doesn't have any room to suck in anything that tastes good. So what you do about that is you weight it. You put it, it comes in a big slab, and I cut it in half, and it tells you that on the recipe. So I have 2 flatter slabs, and I put it in a dish, and I got this much liquid out of it. That's probably almost 1/4 cup, just out of that half slab. And so then it's going to be ready when I do something with it, either put it in a marinade or put soy sauce on it or something. And it'll taste like something, and it'll go with whatever you're putting it in, given whatever marinade. And really, any marinade that you like will do. And this one is I'm going to dry it with a towel. And this is another one of my things, is I hate putting things in the landfill that I don't have to. So paper towels are relatively, they're not horrible to the landfill, but I bet you've got some towels in your pantry or your drawer. And all this is a kitchen towel. Cheryl?
How long do you wait it?
A few hours. And I learned that at the co-op. Because I don't, if you shop at the co-op deli, they have a baked tofu. And if you go back in the kitchen, there are big sheet pans with tofu sitting on it, with boxes of soda pop on top, or jam, or cans of soup. I mean, you weight it seriously. And I don't know, there's some people here who I can tell by the color of their hair they've maybe had home ec, but the rest of you, this is a number 2 can, because I refer to that in the recipe. It's a big can, not a little can. And I waited, I said 2, but there wasn't space, so I just weighted it with 1 for 3 or 4 hours. But then dry it. And the recipe, half of the slab is like 7 ounces. And you really only need 3 for the recipe. So I'm gonna cut it in half, and it's, close enough for what we're doing. I'm gonna take this home and I'm gonna marinate it and bake it. And then I'm gonna weight that one and do the same thing, because it's a good snack. It's not, 3 ounces is a serving, and it has about as much protein as an egg, so it isn't overwhelmingly nutritious, but it's good stuff and a really good snack. I'm gonna, that's all right. I'm gonna cut it in 3/4 inch pieces. You can decide. It's gonna be, tossed with the noodles, so it's however big you want the pieces to be, is how you do it. It's one of those think ahead things. And if they're not even, it's okay. So really, that's not a whole bunch. And then I'm gonna just dribble some soy sauce on it. Maybe a little more than that. And just get it so there's some on all sides. This isn't really marinated. It's just, the soy sauce is just added for flavor. And it says in the recipe, and I wrote the recipe, but if I put the we're doing a crispy finish on it. If I put the cornstarch in here, I get a big mess. So I put this in the cornstarch. It's obvious, but I just wrote the recipe wrong, and I didn't want to leave you with a big mess. And the cornstarch is what makes the crisp finish. And it's just like, whenever you shake stuff in flour or whatever. You want to get it on all the sides. I'm gonna cook it in hot oil, so it really wouldn't matter if I got my fingers in there. Makes it easier. Okay, let's see how hot that is. It is not hot enough. This is an induction burner, and I just love induction stoves. I have an induction stove I saved up. It was a big deal. Although the prices have come down in the last few years. But the only heat that's happening on this stove is where the pan is touching the burner because it's magnetic. And when you have a whole range top, it's not hot. It's only hot right under the pan. So, I don't have burnt towels and burnt pot holders and stuff like that. My mother used to save the flour or whatever she was shaking something in a bag for next time. So there were always these brown bags in our kitchen with kind of icky flour in it, if it had been liver or something. But nobody died. Okay. Yeah, I've got a little sizzle here. Sometimes when you're doing this, you'll have to, if you're using more than the 3 ounces, you'll have to do it in batches because you don't want the pieces to touch each other. One thing about induction is it's like gas, and so when I turn it up, the power comes right on, unlike old electric stoves. And when I got my induction stove, I only had to give away 1 pan. And people keep talking about that as a huge drawback to induction stoves, is that you have to have special pans. Well, the only thing that has to be special about it is that it's magnetic, so it can't be aluminum, can't be copper, whatever else. Pardon me? Cast iron is great because it's one of the best pans. But you're all clad, things that are stainless that you think might not be magnetic. Just take a little magnet off your fridge and check it out, because I carried one around in my purse, a little magnet. So when I went to Goodwill or I went to just around and about to buy pans, I'd know. This is tedious. That's all I can say. It doesn't burn real fast like probably not even as fast as flour, I don't think. It just browns up pretty nicely. You just have to get all the sides. It won't stay crisp in the fridge. It'll be fine. It'll still be real edible. It just won't be crisp. And it tells you in the recipe, it tells you what point to do this. But I wanted to spend some time on the tofu, so I'm doing it first. But that isn't how I would do it if I were making it at home, because I could be doing something else. Pardon me?
How long does tofu last in the fridge?
How long does tofu last in the fridge?
Months.
Yeah. Yeah, I think more weeks.
You're supposed to change the water, I believe.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you should change the water, just use ordinary water, but drain off the water and put it back in and put fresh water.
So if it's like this, then you're into a different category.
Oh, you're talking about it cooked.
Yeah, cooked or even with the water pressed out. I had some that my intention was to bake it, and I took it out and it was moldy. So I'm sure it's a nice medium for mold. Probably wouldn't have hurt me much, but I had to throw it out. No, I just thought of something I was going to say and it went away again. Oh well. If it's marinated, depending on the marinade, it might last a little long, like if it's soy sauce, which is salty. But okay, that's ready for our pad thai, but I have to get rid of the, oops. And you can fry the marinated tofu too. It's just easy to put it in the, on a sheet pan and put it in the fridge. Now, I haven't thought about what I'm going to do with this guy. Let's see, maybe I'll put him on a... Because...
Put your hand on your stove?
No.
I thought you could. I thought soon you'd take the heat off it.
No, because whatever this top is made out of the glass or whatever it is retains heat, and it'll tell you. My stove will always have an H on it when the burner is, but it'll only, see none of this, oops. This isn't hot out here. Okay, gotta put the water on for the noodles. There are a bunch of kind of weird things about pad thai. One of them is that it's made with rice noodles, rice sticks, that's what the package looks like, and you don't cook it. You just put it into boiling water and let it sit. And I was telling a friend last night, oh, I'm making pad thai. She said, oh, I can't make pad thai. I never get the noodles right. So don't leave them in there too long. You can drain them and just let them cool if they get done before you want them to. I think one of the most interesting things about pad thai is the primary flavor is tamarind. And I gave you, I hope, well, there's 5 pieces of candy, so you latecomers can fight over that. Uh-huh. Oh, it is. Well, you're not going to use it in that. That is candy, and it's to be eaten. That's all it is. This is what a tamarind pod looks like. I got, what did I do with them? Oh, here they are. I had to go to the Mexican store to get the tamarind pods because I really wanted to show you them. I went to Los Amigos, south of Lowe's, and they had them. They didn't have them at Los Guerreros. Maybe they were just out. I don't know. And I don't know why you'd want some, but you might. So they're really neat, though, because the pod just comes right off. It's all, it's dry and crackly. And then this is the pulp. You can buy pulp at the Mexican store in the frozen section. And I could have used that to make the pad thai. What I ended up with was concentrate. And I got this at the Asian store. So, I mean, it's really cool when you think about it. And pardon me?
Is that a paste?
No, this is semi-liquid. Well, it's liquid. It's a thick liquid. But you can get paste at the Mexican store. And it's hard. It's real dense paste. But you can dilute it with water. But the Asian store is in the strip mall across from Riverside Health Club. Orange is on the corner, and you go, the last shop down is called Oriental Mart, I think. And they don't have everything. The people who own it are Philippine, so they have a lot of Philippine stuff, and not everything you want that's Chinese and Japanese, but it's what we have, and it beats Safeway because, just a regular grocery store, they have a lot more stuff than that. But anyway, and if anybody wants to play with this, you may. I'll put it over here, and you can come up and look at it. It has seeds in it. Can you see the little lumpies? There's a drink that you'll find in taquerias, and it'll be in a big jar. And there's horchata, which is almond, and there's jamaica, which is hibiscus. And if you're really lucky, you can find tamarindo. And there'll be seeds and pulp in the bottom of the jar. And when I went online, I had this great idea that I would put concentrate into Sprite, and it would make a delicious drink, and it was perfectly awful. And so, it was way too sweet. But I could work, it should have not, anyway. But tamarindo, and this is the only kind of pop I like. It's Jarritos, it's Mexican tamarind soda. And it isn't too sweet. I just think it's yummy. And I'm not sharing. I shared my candy, but that's as far as it's going to go. Maybe if I put a lid on this silly thing, it would.
Suzanne?
Uh-huh.
Can you use the pods as opposed to paste?
But you'd have to get the seeds out. It's a very sticky affair. But
It's basically the same thing, it's just a...
yeah, because the paste is just this, and the concentrate, I don't think it's really concentrated. I think it's a little bit diluted. I just think, because I think it's this with a little liquid in it. But
So it's a seed, not the shell of the seed, it's a little round seed.
yeah, there's a little seed. It looks like a pumpkin seed kind of in there. And now I'm all... That's good. It's sour. Now, I'm a noodle breaker. I don't know, I get mocked by Italians and Chinese and anybody else for doing it. They're just too hard to eat when they're long. And these are tougher than usual. And you kind of have to wrestle them down into the pan. Whoops. And I'm going to set a timer because you really don't, I'm setting a timer for 10 minutes, if I can find it. And you don't want to leave them in there any longer or they're just total mush. Yeah, essentially. And I don't know why. I've never read the science about, why soak these and not other noodles, because I cook with other rice noodles and you boil them. So what do I know? Okay, so we're going to use the same pan that I used for the tofu to do the other stuff. This is a little bit, if you were here last time for the don don noodles, we made the sauce separately and, and then tossed them with the noodles, and you do the same thing here. And it's a raw sauce. It isn't cooked. Okay, the first ingredient is sugar, and it calls for a 1/4 cup, and that seemed like a lot to me. So I tried it with 2 tablespoons, and that wasn't enough, and I tried it with 3, and that's where it's good for me. So it's something you can play with. No, but there's no reason you shouldn't. And it would be the same amount, I would think. Okay, sugar. Fish sauce. Jackie asked me, I'm allergic to shellfish, and this stuff has shellfish in it, what do I do? And I don't know. I suggested she use maybe a little more soy sauce, maybe a little more tamarind concentrate. This is umami. And so you have to think about where you get umami. Maybe some mushroom powder. That always the vegetarian part of that, or even bouillon. Because if you're not aiming toward vegetarian, you would get, a beef bouillon would be fine. Anyway, something to play with. There's always somebody who asks questions like that. 2 tablespoons of fish. Oops. This is probably just as well not to get too much into. Some things don't matter if they splatter all over, but fish sauce is pretty strong. I like the 3 crabs, and that's at that Oriental Mart. A tablespoon of soy sauce, and this is just grocery store. Kikkoman's, if you get soy sauce at the Asian store, they have Pearl River Bridge, which I like a lot. Light, not dark. The dark, it tastes like it has molasses in it, and I just don't like the flavor as much as the light. And light doesn't mean less salt or anything like that. It's a real thing in China. You buy that stuff in China, and it's light or dark.
I think the dark is for red braising.
Yes.
Things like that, not for this.
Right. I have
It
it.
had a glossy color.
Yeah.
for
And-
the pork belly or something.
Right. I like this lady. She knows cool stuff. Okay, 2 tablespoons of tamarind. I'll dribble it in so you can see the consistency. I hear they use ketchup in place of this. That's how I feel about it. I see some awful faces back there. But even they say restaurants do. And the difference between a good restaurant, an authentic restaurant, and a not so much is whether they use ketchup or the real deal. Okay, hot chili flakes. You can make it as hot or as not. Just what does it say? Up to a half teaspoon, which would, for me, would be flaming. And so I did a pinch, but I'd do more than a pinch. I'd start with a quarter or a half teaspoon, just depending on what you like. Garlic, I chopped the garlic. We've chopped garlic here lots of times, so I didn't feel like you would care. And lime. And I don't measure the lime. I just use, it says a lime and I use a lime. And, and then it says 4 teaspoons. That's about it. And I love lime. So if you love something that's in a sauce, don't worry about it. It's not, oops. I don't like this big, tall, heavy bottle. Limes are kind of hard. They're hard to juice. And so you want to put some good weight on them and do that. You can put them in the microwave for probably not more than a minute, but you really do get a lot more juice. If you're making a key lime pie or something and you want a lot of juice, put it in the microwave. Otherwise, I don't. And one nice thing about limes are you don't have to put them through a strainer. They don't have seeds in them, which I see as an advantage. And I bet there's more lime juice than 4 teaspoons here, but the library staff gets to eat this. We don't, so they can. Okay, is that it? And I put the garlic in, and just the only thing that matters here is that the sugar dissolves. So you can just leave it here and stir it around when you think about it. And I think it's time to wipe up a little. This is a stir fry. And when you're doing a stir fry, you need to have every single thing ready. Don't think I'll put this in and then I'll chop up the whatever. Doesn't work. It's, I'm going to turn this on to start heating it. And there's not a lot oh, there's my fork. I didn't think you needed me to show you how to crack eggs, so I scrambled them, and then, do you know garlic chives? Have you grown them? They look like just chives, But again, you should come up afterwards and, break them and smell them because they are really strong. They are strong of garlic. And what does it say? 4? So it kind of means it, Or you can, when I do chives, some people snip them with scissors, but that's slow for me. I cut them in half. Oh, the noodles! Yes. What the heck? But always test. And the only way to test a noodle, in my view, the problem is if I leave them, maybe I'm going to give it 2 more. Because if I don't time it, we're dead. If you can do like this, you can keep them together. The trick is keeping your thumb under your fingers. And if you stick your wing out, your thumb will go under, and that's a good thing. And when you see those hotshot chefs, they're always down like this, and that's what they're doing. They're keeping their thumb out of there. Okay, that isn't very much, but again, if you bought a bunch of those or if you want some, you can come over to my house because I've got 1 bush and there's plenty for everybody. But come up and smell them. Bite one at your own risk. They're not too strong, but you'll smell like that for a long time. It would be kind of like biting a clove of garlic. Okay. Bean sprouts. Beans. Sure. But they're not as strong. They're milder than the garlic. You can substitute garlic. And you do have garlic in the sauce. But I would just use a clove of garlic, I think. Or they say to substitute a scallion. Again, it's so not precise. Okay. Wipe out the tofu skillet. I did that. Reheat on medium high and back to the noodles. I'm just gonna because I'll reheat them in here, so if they get cool, it doesn't matter. Okay, I better get some oil in there. This wonderful thing is 1.5 teaspoons or 1/2 tablespoon. Yay! Because I think they want you to divide it. Okay, the first thing you do, is this. And you just leave it. It's like like when you have a flat omelet that you cut up into other Chinese dishes. It's hard for me not to mess with it. But it's because I'm a messer. And it says till it's bubbly. Can you see it? The only problem with cast iron is how heavy it is. And then push it over in the corner. Oh, I guess it says to break it up. And it doesn't matter if it gets a little more cooked. I did that. Okay, and then I add the, I didn't bring my little, I think I need to add more. And these guys drive me crazy. You have to buy a whole bunch of them now. You have to buy a whole bag of them, so it's compost. I mean, whatever you don't use the first time around, it ends up. And you put part of these, I didn't measure these, I just did that. And I like a lot of vegetables in noodle dishes. And if you want other vegetables in here, now's the time to put them in. And you're not really gonna cook them exactly. Just get them warm. Okay, now we need to make sure that I dissolve the sugar. I think I have. More oil. That kid wants some noodles. And half the sauce. Is it starting to smell? I can't smell it here, but it should be starting. Ooh, I can smell it now. I can smell the fish sauce. That's not the best smell, but anyway. And I'll. You know, really, tossing these things is a lot better. You can get this stuff in them better. And then the tofu and the rest of the sauce. It's not quite dissolved, but it'll dissolve in the pan. Now it smells good. It just kills me to cook food and people can't eat it. Do you love this bowl? I love this bowl. It's really a rice bowl, but I use it for whatever I want to. And it makes a nice noodle bowl. There we go.
If you were going to put veggies in it, what would you suggest?
Peppers or some green spinach, what? Mushrooms. Yeah, there you go. That you'd get the umami then if you got the the mushrooms. This is really only 2 servings. So I've put a few too many in the bowl. And then you garnish with a few of these. And they're, you know, nice and cool and crunchy. And I'll never tell a lie, I didn't have any cilantro, but I had parsley, so it's not the same thing, but it looks nice. And that's all we can deal with right now anyway. It gives it a nice, and peanuts. And I love peanuts, so I put lots of peanuts on the top. And there you are. This has been Trial by Flavor, and thank you all for coming.